Welcome to Realms Unknown. This is the Mist, a homebrew D&D campaign. We thank you for joining and hope you enjoy.
Where we last left our intrepid heroes, they had gone and left the outskirts of Fastro to seek out Meister Weichel, a recently crowned noble in the area whose title and recent acquisitions of businesses, he seemed to have really good fortune for no apparent reason. Little suspicious. So our intrepid adventurers decide to pay him a visit after rummaging through the warehouse which he owned. During this, they had help from a sailor named Timbertane, who was the old quartermaster manager. Yes, he was pretty fucking awesome. And yes, and you also discovered that the captain of the vessel, the Wandersail, had been attacked. And yeah, I'm just looking. What was the name of the Dragonborn there?
I'm looking because I have his dagger.
Yes, you have his dagger. Anyways, this Dragonborn had...
Calgor.
Yes, Calgor, thank you. I was looking for it. Calgor was very defensive when asked about the captain, but you soon managed to gain his trust after proclaiming that you would seek vengeance on those who would harm his dear captain, and he gave you a dagger to ram through the heart of the creature that attacked. A little bit of uncertainty there of the wording of whether it meant the creature or the person who controlled it. Regardless, you made your way to Master Weichel's mansion, and we had Valkyrie. Oh no, sorry, not Valkyrie. It was Garrett, who used a very timely suggestion on the maid, and had you guys gain access to the mansion, and actually had you go right to his office. Master Weichel is a bit of a coward, as you discovered. You berated and bullied him and intimidated him under threat.
And then he tried to cast a scroll.
Yeah, he tried to
cut off his hands.
And you cut off his hand. His guards surrounded you. And it was kind of like, everybody fucking chill. Everybody real cool.
I used a moonbeam and I toasted some guys in the hallway.
Yeah. Everybody's being real cool right now. And he led you down and has given you back the sextant that was taken from the captain. We now find our intrepid heroes out the front gate of Weichel's manor with several guards, at least a half dozen, who are holding crossbows, whilst you are walking with Master Weichel away. And it is this tense moment where you're kind of both trying to figure out how each party gets out of this alive. So I will move him to you here, and that is where we leave things off.
Meister.
Oh, it's up there.
Mr. Meister? What do you call yourself?
He likes to go by Meister, but it's basically Master.
Yeah, I was asking him.
Pretentious bitch.
I go by Meister.
Meister. Why don't you walk us around the corner out of eye shot from your guards, and then you can return home.
I'm not leaving their sight.
I
kind of lean over to Valkyrie. That makes a lot of sense that he wouldn't want to go with people that assaulted his guards, cut off his hand, held him at knife point through his place.
Maybe one of
I
them
don't
could
think you're
follow
getting
us.
that out of him.
He goes and he says, 2 at least.
Okay.
All right. He looks back, and one of the guards has heard this, and he looks to another. You can tell by looking, it's probably the captain of the guard and maybe one of the more experienced people that he has grabbed to follow. The rest of them are kind of slowly making their way out the gate, crossbows still at the ready, and they're following you, I'll say about 30 feet behind, as you're walking away with him down the road. And this is just kind of theater of the mind right now. As you're like,
We didn't bring a carriage or anything here, did
No.
we?
no, I don't
I
think
don't think
so.
we have. Like we commandeered that one.
Yeah.
We walked.
But this is in the city. This is outside the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is outside the city. This is still within the realms of like civilization. There's like other manors near here, like farmland, but it's still pretty nice. There is a chance that actually
Well, we
somebody,
did about an hour walk.
yeah. Actually, can I get somebody to roll me a D100, please?
Oh, hell yeah.
You're looking for above a 60.
75.
Okay. Perfect. So nothing has occurred. So you're edging away with him. Tell me what you do.
As we, I think, hit a point, and he was out kind of in the more forested, like rural area, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit more rural. The roads here are traveled, so you could encounter somebody else.
Well, it looks like this looks like there's another building, like like we're walking along another building, right?
Don't pay attention to that. Ignore that.
Okay.
That's just how
That's
the
the
map.
basement.
Yeah, that's the basement.
Okay.
We went there to get his treasure from the chest.
Oh, yeah,
This is
yeah,
the forested area that
that
we
was-
walked
Yeah,
in.
If I like draw freehand right now for you guys, like where you can see, can I do this? Where's freehand?
Just
Brush. There we go. I found it. So if we imagine like there's like a road going along, there's kind of like a turn off here, and his mansion is like up here, and then you would probably find there'd be like another farm or manor, kind of like that. That's about how this road kind of works.
okay.
Okay.
I just want to.
So we'll say that you're getting to about right about here right now.
Yeah, I think as we get to the end of his property, you're like, Master Fico, we're gonna let you go. Now, I do somewhat regret taking your hand, but understand that the man that gave you all this power took a lot more than a hand from me. You are not him. I suggest you stop doing business with him and try and distance yourselves from those activities.
I understand. And where have you guys stashed the sextant, by the way?
I think Estelle has it.
Yeah, I think I might have taken it.
Okay, Saleh has it. So
We have that in the deed.
yeah. So you've taken the deed and you've taken the sextant. You've like put it away in your pack, I'm assuming.
It's too big to fit in like a pocket or something, right?
Yeah, like a sextant is like this kind of big. If
Yeah,
you can see
it's
me
not
on
a small object.
No, like you like use it and you look through it.
Yeah, I probably would have buried it at the bottom of the pack. That way, if
Okay.
someone was to rummage, they would have had to like rummage to get it.
Okay.
And I'd probably be escorting Mr. Feichel.
Well, and he looks down at his missing arm, which is like somewhat healed from one of you doing like an emergency heal. It's now just a stump.
Yeah.
and he like grits his teeth, and he goes, and he starts slowly pacing himself back from you guys towards his guards at this time.
I'll let him go and tell these two to keep walking for a second. I'm just gonna wait.
Okay. You see them, and the guard kind of like looks at him, and make me a perception check.
This is raw. This is a 4.
Oofda.
I don't think that I
Okay.
would leave Garrett standing there alone. Like, I don't think I would keep going without him. But I figure we can all watch them leave.
Okay. Yeah.
I want you guys a couple steps ahead.
Yeah, a couple steps ahead. Garrett, you see like Vikel and his head guard seem to share kind of like a small exchange, maybe like mouthing words, and you see him shake his head, but you don't see anything more than that.
Do the crossbowmen look like they're taking aim, or are they just still like kind of roughly tracking us?
The main guy definitely was taking aim, and he's kind of started to lower it a bit now after that exchange.
And with that, I think I will fully turn back and begin walking down the road.
Okay. Valkyrie, as you are watching, you're kind of turned around back. You're making your way away now, and you turned back to watch Garrett, and you do see them walking away as well. They've lowered their crossbows now, so as Garrett turns his back, there's no real danger at this time of him being shot.
Okay.
So, yeah. Very tense situation. And you're free of it for now, walking and making your way back to town.
He's gonna put a bounty on our heads.
You don't know.
I guess, yeah, start making that hour walk back to town and go back to the docks, which is probably like another 30 minutes to walk through town.
Yeah. I would say probably you increase your pace just a little bit on the way back. Are you
maybe a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. You make your way back to town. Are any of you trying to like cover your tracks or anything as you're making your way back? Anything?
I'm walking down just the main road.
Okay.
I'm not trying to hide where I'm going right now. If they're gonna follow and come after us, then that's gonna be a thing I'll deal with. Dip into the bushes at that point. But the road is the fastest way to go, and just like a jog.
Okay. Well,
that's what Garrett would want to do.
Yep, that's fair. I'm just rolling some dice here.
I wouldn't worry too much about it.
So you make it back to town unmolested, back through the city gates. It is now, I believe you left in the morning, the note said. So you were there afternoon. So it's getting to be kind of later afternoon, early evening now by the time you make it back to town.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can either go find Calgor, or maybe go see Timbertane, or whatever you would like to do.
I want to find Calgor and give him this hand.
Okay. Excellent.
Oh, right, you took the hand.
I took the hand.
We didn't meet the captain himself, right?
No.
No.
No, they did not trust you well enough to have you meet the captain.
We met like the go-between and Kygor.
Yeah.
As we have a moment, as we're walking back to town, could I take a look at the sextant and maybe examine it?
Absolutely, you can. You take out the sextant. It is a beautiful instrument. It appears to be of the finest craftsmanship. And in particular, you notice on it. I'd say go ahead and roll me just a straight up intelligence check, and unless you have some way of relating, like nature or something, as to why you might know about this object.
I don't think I would.
Okay, roll me straight up intelligence.
I did. I got a 10.
Okay, average roll. So you notice on the sextant, you may never have seen one of these before, being a person who's on land. There are notches in it, which you can see have the glyphs for numbers along it. Something interesting, though, that you do notice looking at it is on the other side, where you would expect maybe more numbers, there appears to be symbols, and one of them you recognize being religious as the symbol for Elysium, which is a different plane. The other thing striking about the sextant is on the back of it, kind of just below where the eyepiece is, you see that there is a grinning skull with two sockets, which have recesses in them where maybe something would go.
If I look through the sextant, does it operate the way I think it should?
Yeah, it operates a little bit like a telescope. There are markings on it, like coming down, which you can see, which are kind of overlaid when you're looking at the image, but you don't notice anything different other than it magnifies things.
Okay. I'll put it back in the pack then.
Well, we go see Kygor.
Yeah, let's go see Calgor.
All right. You make your way down to the docks, bustling and busy as it is, because it's kind of just before mealtime, so many workers are ending their day. You do spot Kygor. He is sitting out front, actually, and there is now another gentleman, another sailor, you assume, with him. And Kygor appears to be eating something as you come up.
I'm going to walk up to him and like pat him on the shoulder and gesture for him to come up onto the boat.
Onto the boat?
Yeah.
He's not going to let you go up onto the boat.
We haven't been on the boat yet.
I know he's not. I was hoping that he would. I'm going to whisper in his ear in Draconic and say, I have the object in which we seek, Calgor, but I don't feel comfortable taking it out down here.
Kygor stops eating this bowl of what seems to be meat, offal, maybe like some weird meat parts in there, which has been lightly roasted. And Kygor looks at you and he goes, with kind of wide eyes, narrows them and says, "You speak the truth?
I bend over to him a little bit more, so I'm like right beside his head, whispering in, I also stole his hand.
Kygor, you see like this grin appear on the draconic face, and he looks to the other gentleman and he says, Kygor will permit these individuals to the deck and no further until they have proven their worth. Stand guard, comrade. And he picks up his spear and he leads you up onto the vessel, and you can see he kind of like tosses the bowl down, has his spear there, and he says, "Show Kygor the truth you bring."
I will put myself down on one knee and bow to him, and I will reach into my pack and present the sextant to him, holding it up delicately.
You see Kygor reach down with oddly delicate fingers, more than you'd expect for a dragonborn of his size and stature, and he looks over the sextant, and you can tell he's actually quite surprised that you've come through, and he goes and he calls for another sailor.
But before he turns away, I want to do a little bit of shenaniganery, and I want to pull the sleeve of my pull my sleeve down and reveal to him that I was holding Vikel's hand to give him the sextant and hand it over to him.
The hand, I'm assuming, just drops to the ground, and Kygor looks at you. He says, "So the miscreant retreated."
the miscreant left. He is in his abode. He still breathes, but he will never lay another finger.
And Kygor, you see, he's somewhat troubled by that. The other sailor comes over, and Kygor kind of nods and gives the man the sextant. And you see there's a flurry of activity now, as the crew is quite surprised at this coming back. And Kygor looks around and he says, "You will stay here for a moment, friends of Kygor. Do not go away or explore the deck." And he goes beneath the deck for a few minutes. And I'm assuming, are you guys going to walk around the deck, or are you just going to stay there?
I think I'm just going to look around the deck. I don't want to piss off a Dragonborn.
Fair
I'll
enough.
walk
I don't
around
know
a
what
little
the
bit.
hell that dude is, but
You notice this ship now that you're up on top of it, and you can kind of look comparing it to other ships. This deck is almost unnaturally pristine, and the railings and craftsmanship on it are perhaps not things that you would never have witnessed them, Garrett. But
No.
somebody like Valkyrie or Asale, who has maybe seen other ships, you can tell that this is a cut above most vessels. And it is a very tight run crew. While other ships may have random pieces of cargo or other pieces of like refuse on the deck, they're not sure what to do. This deck is spotless. It is very, very tightly run. A couple of minutes passed, and Kygor comes back up from the lower deck. And he goes and he looks at you three, and he says, "You have proven friend to Kygor, and by association," he's trying to find the right words.
Yeah, in common.
A friend, yes, of the captain. You will follow Kygor now. And he leads you off the deck, back down to the docks, and he gestures you to follow him.
Yeah. Oh.
I will follow. And I will also give him back his dagger.
Fair enough.
Nice.
When you try to give him the dagger back, he refuses, actually. And he says to you, "Kygor cannot accept this dagger back."
But why, Honorable Kygor?
"Because it has not drank of an enemy's blood."
And I hold it to my chest in revelry and I say, "I shall make it so, Kygor."
Yes. You will give it back to Kygor when you have spilled a foe's blood. Only then can it be returned to me. Um, and he goes and he leads you through town. I'm gonna switch back to the town map now, actually.
Loading the scene.
Loading the scene.
The scene is loading.
Yeah.
Why,
You,
yes.
The
you
scene
see
has
that he
loaded.
leads. Yeah, the scene has loaded. You see that he leads you back through town, through some buildings and apartments, until he reaches a larger kind of building, which is off to the back, kind of close to the wall. So right down here in this area.
Oh, down there.
Yeah, it's a fairly nice residential area, and you see he walks up to one of the doors of the buildings there, knocks on it, and you see a short halfling answer it, and looks up to see Kygor, and looks behind to see you three, and Kygor states, "Kygor seeks Adelhelm." And the halfling looks kind of left and right and goes, motions him in. And then Kygor says, "These are friends of Kygor. They will, um,
Company.
yes, accompany me." And the halfling goes, "That's fine. Just for goodness sakes, come in and get out of the street." Taking up enough
Hustle
time at the
inside.
moment. Yeah.
I kind of pat Kygor on the back. You are speaking well, friend. For an inferior language, you are doing well.
Kygor tries. It is difficult for him, but he must master human language to be a true ambassador for the captain.
I kind of wipe a tear of joy from my eye. Oh, Kygor. Inspiration.
You walk into this home and you can see that there's a hearth going. This halfling appears to be the kind of servant or butler of the house. He goes to take your things, such as your weapons and cloaks if you're wearing them, and looks at your shoes and says, "Off with them! I'll not have you dirtying this home." And surprisingly enough, you can actually hear the sound of a couple of children playing out back. And Kygor asks the halfling, he says, "How is the captain?" And the halfling kind of hums and haws and goes, "He can't get from bed quite yet, but he's doing better, Kygor, and I'm sure he will be happy to see you. I must ask, though, who are the three who have accompanied you here? I was not expecting visitors." And Kygor kind of hushed tone. "They are friends who have recovered the object." And the halfling goes, "Oh, I see. I will let the captain know straight away. I'm sure he will want to speak with them, quite certainly, if that's the case." And he goes upstairs, and Kygor kind of stands there in the room waiting. "You will show respect to the captain."
Of course.
Of course, Kygor.
Yes, Kygor.
"Good, good. Captain is great friend of Kygor, and I hope he become your friend as well." A couple of moments later, you hear the sound from upstairs, and the halfling says, come on up." And you're led into this bedroom where there is a lady who is reading to the captain, and she stands up and says, "Oh, I'll leave you be while your friends are here, darling," and curtsies quite subtly and leaves the room. And you see this man, grizzled, has like a scar over one eye which is closed. A fairly sturdy looking gentleman, slicked black hair, laid up in bed with his shirt off, and you can see bandages going across his chest and rib cage.
Oh shit.
And he stands there, piercing gaze, looking all at you.
What was his name again? Captain
Adelhelm.
Adelham.
"So, I am to understand that you have succeeded where Kygor could not." And Kygor goes to interject, and he's like, "I tried, but I had duties here." He goes, No, Kygor, I jest. You guarded me in my time of need. There is no apologies needed. However, I am not used to people being quite so capable, especially strangers. Why did you go out of your way to assist me?"
Kygor is very persuasive.
Mm-hmm.
And he nods, looks at Kygor, and he goes, "He is endearing, that is certain. And a stalwart friend as well. I could ask for no better bodyguard. So, was it indeed Vikel who took the object as we suspected?"
What?
Oh yes.
It was indeed, and we were able to procure proof of this fact. We gave Kygor one of his arms.
A worthy tribute for my friend, to be sure. So then, what can I, the captain of the Wanderlust, help you with? What do you want of me? Gold? The object you have returned to me is quite valuable, and I am willing to pay its ransom to you. Or do you seek something else?
Maybe a favor down the line when it
Or
comes
just a friend.
time.
I think a friend may be beneficial. Maybe we could help each other in future endeavors.
Absolutely. What is it, what favors can I bestow upon you? If you need passage to anywhere, and I do mean anywhere, I may be able to help you with that. I have denied others, as my schedule is usually quite busy, but seeing as you've returned my instrument to me and assisted my friend, I would be willing to make an exception.
Is there a window on this floor?
There is a window on this floor.
Can I go to the window and just peek out and see if any of Vikel's men followed us?
Sure. As you peek out, the captain says I would not lean out the window too far.
I am just taking a peek in case we were followed, sir.
And he goes and nods his head. I appreciate your caution, but I very much doubt that anyone would follow us down this way. And as you think back, you remember that there was some children playing out front, who you now realize may have actually been halfling, posing as children.
I love it. All right.
Couple halflings playing around the house.
Yeah.
Apologies, sir. I can't be too cautious, especially given who you are.
Yes, I have no doubt that he may try to finish the job, but he is a fool. Because I suspect he wasn't even able to use the sextant. So, what do you know about this Vikel character anyway? What brought you to Fastro in the first place?
Well,
Do you know the name Weaver?
mhm.
The Weaver. I have heard this name, unfortunately. And perhaps I will be saying, unfortunately, I may have actually done him a favor unknowingly.
Just the one?
Just the one. You see, I was approached by Vikel a month back now, approximately. He approached me, and he said he wanted to seek passage to Darkon, a place we now call a cursed land. Many ships have tried to sail there, but to no avail. Vikel was one who tried and had failed, losing several vessels in the process. He approached me and asked me to seek passage for goods and people. Now, I did accept after increasing my fees several times because I didn't really want to make the voyage, but the coin was good, and frankly, I had no other sailings or voyages planned. I noticed that the people he was transporting were odd. And he looks at you, Garrett, and kind of looks you up and down. And he goes, they remind me somewhat of you. But they did not speak. They kept to themselves and spoke only in hushed words. And I completed the voyage, and upon arriving in Darkon, I was greeted by an individual who said that the Weaver thanks me. I did not know what that meant. I found myself back in Fastro preparing for another voyage when Vikul approached me again. And given that I already had other voyages planned, I asked for the same fee, which he said was exorbitant, which it was, of course. Soon after, I found myself attacked in my own cabin aboard the vessel. I have no doubt that he summoned the creature to attack me. However, Vikul is an idiot, and I don't think he could do it on his own. So someone has been assisting him. I have my own informants, and I believe that person to be the Weaver. He has some plan in Darkon, and I can guess at what it may be, but frankly, I don't really care. Apart from getting better and from assuring he, or rather his lackey, doesn't continually pester me.
If you are the only one that can get to Darkon, I don't think he will stop pestering you. And from what I've learned of my limited knowledge of the Weaver, it's not something that can be simply ignored. We cannot just think of him as a walking plague bearer, spreading chaos as he travels from town to town.
I have heard disturbing stories of him from the west. The kingdom there fell to ruin after a traveling alchemist visited. Seems that the king there was seeking immortality and found it in some way, only to be turned into a monster, if the rumors are to be true. I've since heard other rumors that this same person has been traveling, causing issues, promising people fantastical things, only to grant them like a jinn or genie, to grant the wishes in the most horrific of ways.
My experience as well.
Well, if he is going to continue to come after me, and I would assume that if you're asking me about him, that you are also targets of his? He kind of queries.
He's a target
Slightly
of
more
ours.
vice versa. He is our target, and he is why we have came to this place.
Ah, understood. Kygor looks at the captain and then looks at you three. Kygor feels we are honor bound to assist them. And the captain nods and says, yes, I would agree, Kygor. Although I am in no state to do so.
Is there anything I can do to help you, my captain? I am a cleric.
He grimaces and kind of chuckles at that and says, I appreciate your offer. However, I do not think that you have the ability to cure what ails me. I simply need time. This, and he kind of groans and looks and he says, I was caught off guard. It was my own fault, and I normally have access and do have access to very powerful methods of recuperation. I won't put this on you. Forgive me. I think that Vikul will come after us again. And you should definitely be on your guard.
Yes, I tried to tell him to distance himself from the Weaver, but I don't know if that just means he's going to send someone later.
No, Vikul is a lackey. Whoever is pulling the strings is there has to be somebody else. My advice to you would be that if you want to find this weaver, you need to find whoever it is in this city is the one who is putting the screws, as it were, on Vikel. Was there any evidence? Did he mention anything when you spoke to him of someone else? Was there any correspondence you found?
Found one correspondence, but
We
was it from the Weaver?
It was from someone to Vikel. We found that in the shipping company, correct?
Hmm. I don't think it was signed, that letter.
It wasn't signed, no.
He holds out his hand and he says, "Do you have it with you?"
Of course. I open up my pack because I am the pack mule, apparently, and I will hand it to him.
And he goes and he looks over at his dresser and he says, "Could you do me a favor? In that drawer, there is a small dish, brass, with a couple of jewels of onyx adorning it. Can you bring out that bowl for me, please?"
Yes. I'll go and grab it.
I will, yeah. As he's doing this, can I make a medicine check to see like what's wrong with him?
Sure, go ahead.
I think it's mostly his pride, but
Yeah, go ahead and make a medicine check.
it's only a 16.
A 16?
It's pretty good.
It's
That
not
is pretty
bad.
good.
Not bad for level 3.
Based on what you've heard, based on what you've heard from the attack of it being kind of like a water elemental and what you're seeing here, it's likely that he suffered several puncture wounds, and you're guessing that maybe the creature tried to force its way into his lungs, because you can see that there's medicines and instruments here to help with somebody who has like pneumonia. So,
And that's something that I can't really assist with.
no. Do you have access to lesser or greater restoration?
I do not believe so.
No. You also kind of healing, if it's like a severe wound, it does take some time to recover from. But based on what you're seeing, the captain will make a full recovery within a couple of weeks.
Nice.
Yeah. The captain takes this letter and he places it into the brass dish. You see him hold it underneath and begin moving his hand over it as if he's seeking something. And you begin to see the paper go and shudder and move around.
Mm.
And you see him stop for a moment. He goes, blah. Wrong person. That was the recipient. Give me a moment. And he goes for it again. And you see he begins to you see him go into a bit of a trance. And he takes a couple of minutes and he waits and he comes back out. I am having difficulty spying on this individual. I see images of stone and running water, someplace dark and damp. But apart from that, I can't see the individual in question.
Mm.
I'm sorry I can't be of more help.
Do you have anybody that knows the mainland around here?
The mainland? Yes, certainly.
It's
What do
just
you need?
this area. Is there a cave system? Is there a waterfall? Is there?
I don't know of any cave systems or waterfalls nearby.
When you say stone, is it natural stone or like
No,
bricks?
it's brickwork.
Brickwork.
Brickwork. Is it a sewers?
That would make sense. Certainly the sewers.
I thought lesser restoration was a 3rd level.
I thought it was as well.
It's a 2nd level.
Oh,
And I have 1 extra slot.
well then.
I think while our beloved captain is having a quick bite, I might just cast Lesser Restoration on him, thinking if it might help.
Okay.
And I'll just be like, I insist. At least let me try.
You cast it.
Goodbye, second level spell slot. It was nice knowing you.
He coughs a couple of times. Seems like his breathing got easier. And he says, "Oh, I should probably have been asking for that a while back." He kind of moves and he's like, "Oh, my ribs are still sore though. Oh, many, many thanks."
The people that looked like me, were they in
What's
like
that?
my armor colors are, I think, golds and stuff right now,
Mm-hmm.
if I remember correctly. And I think the ones from the mainland were like blues and stuff, and then we said there was it green was for the
Yeah.
soldiers in the long sleep? Were they in blue or green colors like mine?
They were similar to yours, but it was as though they were only wearing pieces of the armor you have, as if parts of it had been replaced, perhaps. It had been damaged over time.
Yeah, they would have been definitely damaged if they were blue.
How many of them were there?
There were at least 20 that I took with me.
Here I was hoping for the 4 that we already took out.
Then you said to darken.
Yes.
Why would he need them in darken?
Did they return or did they stay there?
They stayed there. Darkon is a strange place which has rumors surrounding it. You perhaps have not heard, but the ruler there died a couple years back, and ever since mists have been encroaching on the land. The ruler there was a powerful sorcerer king. He was said to have discovered the secret of immortality, but if that is the case, he probably would not have died. That being said, some ritual of his did not work as expected, and the castle was obliterated. It is now a crater complete with floating masses of rock and stone from the building floating in midair. A place where arcane energy arcs and acts in unpredictable ways. I have heard early, after this had happened, some mages had gone there thinking that they could harness the energy in some way. All who tried failed, from what I heard. But there is stories of those who think that they are above their fellow mages and a savant or genius who can succeed where others have failed. Given what I've heard of the Weaver, I would expect he is someone such as this. What he seeks to do with that harnessed power, I can only begin to guess. But getting to the site of the castle would be a difficult endeavor. The land has been cut off, and we've heard stories that monsters and the dead rise. It is a cursed place, and only few voyage there, seeking what they think is riches, or people like myself who can make the voyage to line their own coffers, as it were.
Hmm.
I will say, you can find things there that can be found nowhere else in the lands, but it is dangerous.
Well, at least we have possibly one lead to follow.
Absolutely.
I
I would go as well. I'd heard that Vikel
Be right back.
frequented a gambling den. It's possible you may find information there as well.
The gambling den. Where is that?
There is a, excuse me, building just north of the town square, a larger building, and one of the rooms, some of the nobles go and rent out and play cards. It's a seedy sort of location.
Hmm.
You can't get in unless you have an invitation. But if you can, and maybe ask around, you might find something.
Would a man like yourself be able to get us an invitation? Or would we have to try and find that somewhere else?
Hmm. He thinks for a moment and says, I may be able to, but you'll need different clothes. You can't go walking in there like that. They'll spot you as outsiders first thing you know.
Okay. What kind, like, no armors or something fancy?
Noble clothing, Valkyrie. Noble clothing.
Yes.
It's
Way
possible.
too expensive for what it is.
No armors, perhaps. Well, you could get away with a breastplate. I don't think much else. It'd have to be gleaming. You'd need to pick up something fashionable from the store, such that you looked like one of them.
Mm.
The place itself is actually a brothel with rooms where it caters to high-profile clients. I've heard it's run by one of the crime families,
Of course.
of course. I could possibly procure you an invitation if you're able to get the clothing. Say that you're dignitaries from another kingdom looking for some entertainment. Pass you off as it.
I think we
If
could.
you're
Yeah, I think we could acquire the right attire.
Is there also a buy-in for the table?
there would be a buy-in for the table. I think it's about 100 gold pieces. Since you have retrieved my sextant, I would be willing to pay the buy-in, but anything further than that, you'll have to go and fund yourself.
Yes, sir.
That's very reasonable.
Where are you staying, by the way?
The Sleeping Sigil.
A reputable tavern. I will have my quartermaster, and he nods to Kygor, come and meet you at the tavern. We may have a couple of pieces of clothing you could use, but you can buy dresses. And Garrett, we may have a breastplate and perhaps something you could use. How does that sound?
That sounds
More
wonderful.
than generous, sir.
Very good. Kygor, will you attend these people and make sure they don't get into too much trouble? Kygor would be honored. Oh, it's set then. You let me know what night, and we'll have you go in.
As I'm still next to the captain,
Yep.
and we've kind of reached a lull in the conversation, I'm gonna lean over to him and say, I think I'll lean over to the captain and say, Mr. Adelhelm, when we retrieved the sextant, I took a look at it, and it seems as though there are indentations for something underneath where you look. Are those something that have also been stolen? Or are those something that are stored somewhere safe?
He gets a twinkle in his eye, and he goes, those are the reason that Vikel and no one other than myself can use the sextant. If you require passage to Darkon or anywhere else difficult, you may ask me, and I will provide you with the means to get there. Though I cannot assure you that the voyage will be comfortable.
With a twinkle in my eye and a smile on my face, I'm just gonna kind of say, I knew it was special, and I knew you were special. May I be so bold as to ask where it may have came from? Not by how you acquired it.
he looks, and you can see Kygor is very uncomfortable now that you've asked where this thing has come from.
Yeah.
And he kind of says, he kind of thinks for a moment, he says, let's just say that there was hell to pay for me to acquire such an item.
I kind of make a smile and I look at Calgor. I give him a little bit of a wink and I stand up.
And Kygor stands up as well and goes, Kygor! And he salutes, will return.
I think
And the captain nods, he goes, I know you will, my friend. For now, let me rest, and the rest of you, I bid you good hunting.